Okay. Hello, Miss Karen's class or Miss Redanz class. I've been assigned to do an interview with my one and only amazing mom. So I'm going to be starting off the questions with, when did you find out that you were pregnant?
Um, we found out that we were pregnant by taking a um, in-home pregnancy test, and that's the way we found out that we were pregnant. I had a suspicion that I was pregnant because I was starting not to feel good at certain times, and of course my period had stopped.
So you weren't surprised.
I was not surprised.
So who did you tell first?
I told my husband Frank first, and because of my age and health issues that I had, we did a we went to the Yukon Health Center to get a ultrasound done, and that's when we found out if we were going to have a boy or a girl, and we told them not to tell us and to put whether it was a boy or a girl in write it down on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope and seal it, because we wanted to give it to the one grandmother as a surprise.
So did you do any research before you giving birth to Alexis?
Um, yes, because I was very nervous. I am a baby and I do not like pain. And I said I am not going to be a hero and try to suffer through. Um, so I made my decision right away that I wanted to do an epidural and try to keep things um, as least painful as possible.
That's cool. So how long were you pregnant? You know how many weeks?
Yep, I was pregnant for 42 weeks.
Oh wow.
I went 2 weeks over my due date, and I worked every single day right up until the last day that the doctor anticipated that I was going to give birth. So Alexis was 2 weeks late.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. What was the best part about being pregnant?
I think the best part about being pregnant was the first time I could feel the baby move inside of me.
Oh.
It was, that's a feeling that I don't think you could ever explain really to anybody unless you're a woman and have the privilege to be able to experience that.
What was the worst thing?
The worst thing was, I think, when it was time to have the baby, it was the contractions. They were
Horrible.
so painful, and unfortunately, I was in a position where I only dilated to 4 centimeters and stopped, but yet the contractions kept coming. So they gave me a drug to try to dilate me more, and the drug made me nauseous. So I was having contractions that were horrible and painful, and I was vomiting because the medication they gave me made me nauseous, and it was like I couldn't get away from any of the torture. I just wanted the baby to be out.
Did anything unusual or funny happen during this?
um, well, we did run into some complications after Alexis was born. First of all, it wasn't I stopped dilating. So they had to do an emergency C-section. Um, After that, um, Alexis had an issue with her heart where her valve wasn't opening. So she had pulmonary stenosis, where she had to be taken to Hartford Hospital for angioplasty at 2 days old. Unfortunately, due to me having the epidural, when you have an epidural, it runs into a risk of causing spinal cord leakage, because the epidural is given in the spinal cord, and my spinal fluid leaked. And what happened is, when the spinal fluid leaked out, it causes massive headaches, like migraine type headaches. So here I am, just had a baby. I have stitches in my belly from a cesarean section. I can't sit up, because every time I sit up, the migraines are so bad, they knock me right back down. And now they're telling me that my newborn baby has to go in for angioplasty at 2 days old, and she has to be transported to Hartford Hospital in an ambulance, and then I have to be transported to Hartford Hospital in another ambulance. So we went in separate ambulances.
That's a lot of cash.
And the migraines were so bad, and I just wanted to be with my daughter, my newborn daughter at that time. And it was a really, really scary time. And of course, your dad, being the man that he is, wanted to do something nice for all the nurses on the Bacchus hospital floor. So he went and bought pizza for everybody because they were so good to us before we ended up leaving and going up to Hartford Hospital, where we spent 2 weeks.
A very class act from Dad.
Yeah.
So did you attend any birth education?
We did Lamaze classes to learn how to do controlled breathing, which helped a little bit. But when you really need to stay focused on the breathing, and usually your husband, spouse, partner is your coach. So you really have to stay focused with them to get through each contraction. And it seems like they come quicker and quicker and quicker. So it's hard to stay focused with that. But yes, we did take classes.
Oh, all right. Did that help out?
It did.
Okay.
It did.
What else did you do to prepare for the birth?
I think that, of course, we got the bedroom ready for the arrival of the baby, and Grandma was all excited, and she got to buy stuff and get everything set up in the room. But it's kind of a weird, when they say that people begin to nest, like right before we knew that the baby was going to be born, you start to really clean things up and put things away and get things organized. And the night I had done that a little bit, because I worked right up until it was a Friday that Alexis was born on. I worked right up. Thursday was my last day, and Friday at 2 a.m. in the morning, the contractions started. And that's when I got up and I started cleaning the bathroom and cleaning the kitchen and making sure, like, I cleaned.
You just went into this mode?
I went into this cleaning mode. It was weird. And it's because I didn't want to wake Frank up yet, because I knew that the longer I stayed home, it was going to be less time in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I tried to, walk around and do things and take a shower and get all ready as much as I could. And then I woke your father up at 6 a.m. and I said, yeah, it's time to go.
Oh my God. So did you pick any names before the birth?
We did. We did go through some names, but at the end, we went back to, like, my mother's first name was Dorothy, and so we thought about, like, kind of the old school names of Lorraine and names that we we grew up with. Now there's a lot of fancy names and nature, like a lot of names with nature and stuff in them. So there's a lot of interesting names now, but we wanted to go back to kind of the old school names. And then we talked to Grandma and we asked Grandma what she thought, and Grandma ended up picking Alexis's name.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So
did you have an ultrasound picture? Do you still have those?
Somewhere. Yeah, we do. We had the ultrasound. That's how when they did the ultrasound, because I was a higher risk because I have Graves' disease, which is has to do with my thyroid. So they wanted to keep a close eye on the baby as the baby grew, and she grew and she grew, and she was 9 pounds 4 ounces. She was a big baby when she was born. So when they did the ultrasound, and they told us they wrote down the sex of the baby, and we put it in the envelope and we gave it to Grandma, and we hadn't told Grandma that we were even pregnant, but she opened the envelope at Christmas. It was her Christmas gift, and she opened the envelope and she saw that it was going to be a baby girl.
That's a cool
and
Christmas
she was really excited. So yes, we did do ultrasounds. We did ultrasounds on a regular basis right through the whole pregnancy to make sure that the baby was developing properly. And I would have loved to have a 3D. They can do 3D ultrasounds now where you can get a real true picture of what the baby looks like, which is amazing. It's come a long ways.
When was the first time you heard the heartbeat?
The first time we heard the heartbeat was I think about a month after I found out that I was pregnant. So I think it was at the second visit to the obstetrician, and they which was it's cool the way they do the Doppler on your belly back and forth, and it's just a boom boom boom. So that's cool. We knew there was a baby in there.
Did you have any typical like problems with like sleeping while being carrying around this child?
I tell people that carrying the baby in your belly is the easiest part of the whole pregnancy and life with children. Because it's contained. So even though you get bigger and you get periods when you're uncomfortable, some women have a lot of problems with morning sickness. My morning sickness seemed to come at night. In the middle of the night, I would wake up and I would be nauseous.
Oh.
So, no, but I never got any morning sickness in the morning. I got up and went to work every day. So.
Did you have any like heartburn, swollen feet?
I did. I had a lot of heartburn. And they say, like an old wives' tale is, if you have a lot of heartburn, then your baby has a lot of hair. That was like the old wives' tale.
So did Alexis have a lot of hair or no? Or was it just a typical?
I think it was typical. You had more hair than Alexis. You did. You definitely did.
How long did you work until giving birth? I think you said right up to the day, right? Thursday and then Friday
night? Yeah, beyond. I thought it was a big joke at work that I was going to have the baby at work. That was scary. that was really scary.
So did your water break?
No.
No?
No, they broke my water at the hospital.
Oh, that's
because it was failure to progress. Like, I stopped dilating.
Oh. So
that's when things got tricky.
So you said you had a hospital setting. You didn't have a home birth or anything like that. Were you? Did you want to do a home birth, or was it?
No.
To it?
No. Right to the hospital. Thank you.
I see. Who was at your birth?
Dad was there. So my husband was there, and Grandma was in the waiting room, because you got to realize I went in at 7 a.m. with contractions, and they worked with me until 5 in the afternoon, and then realized that it was time to do a C-section, because the baby was starting to get the baby's heart rate was starting to go up, and so the stress was taking a toll.
Did you have a plan after giving birth to Alexis? Like, did you have any people in mind that would stay with you?
No.
It was a one-man team?
I'm a one-man show. I knew Grandma would be over, and my brother would stop by, but you try. They had, back 20 years ago, they said don't take the baby out for 6 weeks and keep visits limited with people coming in, and it was different than nowadays. That? Yeah, we did that.
So who cut the cord?
I don't remember if Dad cut the cord or not. He was in. No, I don't think he did, because they were doing the C-section, and the anesthesiologist was sitting next to me, and he had the oxygen mask over my nose, and he had it like to the side, and I have like this fear of suffocating, so I could feel that like I had half of my nostril closed off. So I was trying to you can't move, like once they give you that medicine.
So you were trying to
I was trying to use my eyes, help me, and I can't speak because you're like out. And he was talking about his weekend with one of the nurses, and Dad kept looking at me, and I'm making big eyes, and he's like, something's not right here, with something's wrong with my wife. And that's when the baby, they took the baby out and everything, but he was more worried about me and that I could breathe. So he's like, something's not right here. And he's like, oh, sorry, I got to move the mask over. So yeah, then it was better.
All right. We're going to skip a couple questions to hurry up, especially it's 17 minutes already.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're doing great. How long did you stay in the hospital for?
We went from Bacchus. We were there for about a day and a half. And because of the situation with Alexis's heart, we had to go right to Hartford Hospital. And we stayed at Hartford Hospital in the NICU unit for 2 weeks.
You were there for 2 weeks?
Well, I was there. I stayed with her. I wasn't going to leave her. And that's where they repaired my epidural, my spinal thing. They went back in and repaired it so I could. It took care of the headaches. It was crazy. So
you had a surgery, 2 surgeries at once?
Yeah, and I was afraid to get the epidural again because they messed it up the first time, but Hartford fixed it.
So did you choose a breastfeeding or the bottle feed?
They in the NICU unit, they have you try obviously doing the breastfeeding. She was hooked up to so many wires and so many cords and stuff that what they do is they have the moms pump the milk. They put it in little tiny baby bottles, and then they give the milk to the babies through the baby bottle. So she was doing that for a couple of weeks, and then trying to get her to latch on was it was difficult. It was difficult. But we ended up breastfeeding for about 6 weeks. That's all we could do. Gotcha. Then I felt like she wasn't getting enough anymore.
Did you have someone during the 2 weeks at Hartford Hospital? Did you have someone like an assistant nurse always checking in on you, or was it?
Yeah, they were really, really good. They used to make jokes about how Alexis was the biggest baby in the NICU, because when you go in there and you see babies that are as big as your hand. It's crazy. And then we got a mammoth. Yeah, we got a mammoth baby that's 9 pounds 4 ounces. So, it was kind of a crazy scenario, but they run a wonderful center.
Who was your first visitors? Do you remember them walking in and seeing you? Was it Grandma?
It was Grandma.
Was Aunt Missy or any other
yeah,
relatives?
Aunt Missy. Yeah, Aunt Missy and Uncle Ed.
Auntie Di? No.
Yeah, Auntie Di. Yeah. They saw me up at Hartford Hospital.
Oh.
They came to Hartford Hospital to see me.
All right. And then, how did it feel to go home and take care for the newborn?
It was scary. It was scary because, first of all, they didn't because she was coming out of an EQ unit, they did not let her leave until she could sit in the car seat without crying for 40 minutes because we had a 40-minute ride home.
Oh.
So they wanted to make sure that would be okay. So that was a little challenging, but we got through that. And then you got this new bundle of joy that you take home, and you're on your own, and you talk about no sleep. Like, no sleep.
So, if you got to go back and do this experience again with Alexis, would you change anything up?
No, because I believe that all of everything that we went through, everything in life happens for a reason, and it was given me the strength to become a better parent in the long run. So.
And do you think it was? I'm going to throw this question in because I want to know personally. Was Alexis easier, or was I?
As a baby?
As a baby.
I think her health issues were scarier for us.
Just say me to make me happy.
You were a good baby.
All right, we're going to leave it off at that. All right, adios.